to this live chat facility tutorial. We have had a lot of questions recently about the chat facility and how to use it, so let's get into the video. The chat facility is built with students in mind, with a tool that doesn't need to be parent or teacher led. Each of our pages are linked to the person behind the broadcast, even after it's finished, so you can always ask your questions and get a response about the broadcast. So, let's have a look at how to use the chat facility. To use the chat facility, the first thing to do is to type your comment or question into the chat box. You can now enter your screen name. Your screen name will show when you type your question or comment. Now you will see the chat facility ask for your email address. As I mentioned before, each of our pages are linked to people from the organisation who can reply to your questions. You can enter your email address, which will not be shared with anyone, to get a direct response from the people behind the broadcast. If you do not want a direct response, then click the button at the bottom. People behind the broadcast can still respond to you if you don't provide your email address. This just means you may have to come back to the page to check the response. To type your question, simply click on the chat box. You will then see two symbols appear. The @ symbol will mean your comment or question will be posted publicly for others to see. The email symbol means your comment or question can be sent directly to the person of your choice from the list that will appear. You can now speak to the people behind the broadcast and ask any questions you may have, or check out our partner pages to see the companies we work with who you can speak to right now about their current vacancies. You can also check out our careers page, which connects you to employers. Our live chat service is linked 24/7 to employers from a wide range of sectors, all waiting to hear from you. You can leave a question about how to produce a professional CV or how to prepare for interviews, anything work related, and one of our businesses will respond to you directly. You can also access a wide variety of live interactive broadcasts and video on demand with the live chat support on all pages. Now, this bit is for the parents, guardians, and teachers. The best bit about the live chat facility is that it is completely moderated, so you don't need to worry if your young person leaves a silly comment, as it will only show on their screen and no one else's. Another great thing about the chat facility is that it is GDPR protected, so no information is shared with anyone else. We will protect all email addresses and will never share personal information of the young people. If you have any questions about the chat facility or the Learn Live channel, please use the email us icon at the top of the page. Thank you, stay safe and stay tuned.
Hello everyone and welcome back. So thank you to all of the speakers that we have heard from so far today, which just makes this week even more crucial with the information provided. So as I mentioned before, if you leave a question for any of the speakers that we'll be hearing from today, please leave them in the live chat, which is just next to the video player. Once that has been sent, somebody on the panel will answer your question as soon as possible. Now, next up, we have available Dave Ethel and his colleagues who will be talking about trespassing and also security, especially around freight trains. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Dave Ethel.
Hello, welcome to Rail Safety Week. My name's Walt Cartwright from DB Cargo. I'm the National Operations Safety Manager, and I wanted to do a small presentation to you regarding trespass and security. So, trespass and security, NFSG, I identified it as one of the top 5 risks, and I was asked to lead a project on how to get a common approach to risk assessment and how the industry should be joined together. We had industry engagement with key stakeholders, TOCs, Fox, Network Rail, BTP, RSSB, and the ORR, and it was a really good collaborative effort between everybody. The RSSB led some workshops on 3 projects, T1168, T1182 and T1183, which are all on their website. It's all about like the mitigation of trespass and how to assess and risk. The bow tie exercise was a joint exercise amongst all the operators and Network Rail BTP, just to understand what is actually the risk of trespass within the industry. There's some industry working groups going on that were going on for the last couple of years. So there was like the Trespass Improvement Group, which was a big drive campaign behind You versus Train, and the Trespass Risk Group, which is ongoing now and constantly looks at areas of concern. As an industry, we've had a collaborative approach with our competitors. So within the freight industry, all the freight operators have actually joined together. We're looking at a common approach and utilizing common techniques to assess risk and security. One of the key winners for us was a bi-weekly security call held by Network Rail, but really pulling everybody together to talk about areas of concern, activities that we're seeing, and sharing best practice. We collaborate more with our customers and suppliers to raise the awareness so that they understand things that they do on their sites has the potential to impact our sites, which could eventually lead to somebody coming onto theirs unexpectedly. Network Rail do a lot of work with the community, and as an industry, we really need to proactively raise the awareness that to the local communities and schools. The You versus Train campaign, absolutely fantastic. It hit home with a lot of people. It got some really big hits during the time. The true stories are on there. It's really, really good to watch. Communications through social media and the local press, through to local schools and primary schools and secondary schools. It's up to get the message out to people to make sure that they stay aware. When you think about it, hundreds of people each year unintentionally take on the railway and lose. It's full of hidden dangers, and people do not realise how dangerous it is. If you're not hit by a train, there's a good chance you'll be electrocuted. If you're killed or left with a catastrophic or life-changing industries, it's not just you as the individual who's hurt; it's everybody else around you. It's the impact on the people who's gone out to the incident, the driver, the member of ground staff, the mobile operations manager, or the BTP who come out to check. Everybody pays when we have a trespass incident. If you check out the You versus Train website, there's some really good videos on there that really hit home and make you think to stay away from where you should be. Every time somebody trespasses on the railway, like I say, they risk everything to them, their people. And there's 2 powerful videos on the You versus Train that really gets home the message about the impact to the wider audience. Through collaboration and sharing best practice and mitigating risk, we will save lives. The industry will ensure our sites and boundaries are secure and safe. But the message to the public is stay off the rail network and report any concerns and save a life. The comment I would say to everybody is, how would you feel if somebody was seriously injured and you knew they were there? From a personal point of view, I can talk about this because I've been there. I've been the one who's been involved in not in looking after an incident afterwards when a young boy was electrocuted. I've gone through the journey. I've gone through the standing in a room and being interviewed and standing in a court and having the finger of blame pointed at me. And that it's not nice, it hurts, and it digs into the heart. Every question they ask is another knife in the heart to that person. And I wasn't there. I did exactly what I should do, but I wasn't there. If it wasn't for the support from the people around me and my line manager, Dave Ethel, at the time, I would have broke down. But without Dave's help, I couldn't have done this. What do you, Dave?
Thanks, Walter. Hello, everybody. My name's Dave Ethel. I'm the NFSG Independent Project Manager. In a previous role, I worked in the rail freight industry for 13 years as Head of Safety and Operations for DB Cargo UK. Similarly, like Walter just explained to you, when you're presented with the raw facts of facing trespass on a railway site and the significant injuries that occur if the worst things happen, which they do occasionally, it's really hard hitting. Obviously, at first, you think about the families that have been involved and the trauma they go through when they're normally young people are badly hurt or even worse. From a personal point of view, as line manager of my team, what Walter went through and other people involved in the court cases, that is also an extreme factor which plays on your mind during the run-up to the court cases, but particularly afterwards when you come out of court after a prosecution and you feel the impact and press are aware and press are filming you, etc. You are in the spotlight. At the end of the day, we go to work to do our job safety in rail freight. As always, an FSG collaboration proves that with these ongoing projects we have. But I think Walter's words are very poignant, and I think it's important for everybody, particularly young people. Rail freight sites are really dangerous. These trains weigh up to 4,000 tons and travel at 50 to 60 miles an hour. Now, you don't hear them coming. Electricity is on site, other risks, and the railway is a dangerous place. So please stay off railway sites, particularly rail freight sites, and take care and have a great Rail Safety Week. Thank you, everyone.
1, 2, 3. Ready? That was amazing. Hi, I'm Joanna Page, an actress born here in Wales.
And I'm Gareth Thomas, ex-Welsh rugby captain.
We're here today to take you on a series of challenges to find out who's trained safe and who needs to sharpen up their game.
But before we charge in head first, let's have a quick warm-up.
Can you pronounce this train station name?
Oh gosh. Literally, hang on, this name, hang on.
Is it taller than me?
It's taller than you. Oh, I think I've got it.
Oh, really?
I think I've nailed it. Llanfair, Pwll Gwynedd, go gerech. No, I haven't. Llanfair, Pwll Gwynedd, go gerech, ond drobl, Llantysilio, go goch.
Gosh, that sounded good, yeah. That actually sounded like a word, and like mine. Llanfair, Pwll Gwyn, Gill, go gerech, Weroen, drob, Llantysilio, go go.
No, that didn't work. You have to safely get across the tracks without stepping on the third rail, because the third rail has got 750 volts of electricity running through it.
Well, I've got to be honest, I think the third rail is the one in the middle. So I think I would be fine on here.
You should never step on the tracks. The third rail looks just like an ordinary rail, which if stood on would almost certainly cause your death. What about the fact that you're not allowed on it in the first place? You get fined.
Well, oh my gosh, do you?
Yeah, you get fined up to £1,000. So you know, in your effort to try and prove,
Yes.
it means you're banned and you're out to the next round.
Well, does it?
Oh yeah, you can't break the rules around here, girl. Oh yeah.
Right, Gareth, you are now going to have to work with my cardboard cutout. You need to clear the balls from the level crossing. You have 10 seconds. Do you think you can do it?
Yeah, I think that's pretty easy. Tell me when the clock starts then.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You look like a 3-year-old on Christmas Day. Right, Gareth, you failed to clear the balls, but that's the least of your problems.
All right.
If you see a hazard or drop something on the tracks, you should alert a member of staff and never attempt to clear the obstruction yourself. Sorry, Gareth, as you broke the rules, you're out of the next round. Well, I can't talk to you anymore, just give me the cardboard cutout. It's quite nice working with my new Gareth. I feel we've got chemistry now. Oh my gosh!
My dreams have come true. Joanna, if an elephant weighs 5 tons, how much does a passenger train weigh in elephants?
There's normally about like 8 carriages. I'd say 2 elephants per carriage. Right, 80 tons. Is that enough? 80 tons.
Oh, so the answer is 80 elephants. And that is 400 tons.
Gosh, that's insane. That is mad. If a train is travelling at full speed, the length of how many rugby pitches can it take for a train to come to a complete stop? For each pitch you guess over or under, you'll have to do an elephant burpee.
Oh no, a burpee's bad enough anyway, but an elephant burpee.
Yeah, I hope you get this one wrong because I want to
So
see
I gotta
that.
guess it in rugby pitches.
In rugby pitches.
Length of, so length of a rugby pitch is 100 metres. I'm saying 8.
Right.
I'm saying 8.
Are you definitely going with 8?
I'm going with 8.
The answer is 20 rugby pitches. That's around 1.25 miles. Oh my gosh. Sorry, Gareth, you know what's coming next. As you got the answer wrong, let's see those elephant burpees. 1 for every pitch you are out.
And how many was I out?
So you guessed 8 and it was 20.
So 12.
Get down. Get down and show me those burpees.
There may be some tearage going on here. Oh gosh, right.
Oh my goodness, I think I'm going to wet myself. I gotta say, that was amazing, and that's why you are a sports superstar.
Right, okay. So from what distance can you safely hear a train approaching?
Well, I think that you can definitely hear it from 400 downwards. That's a definite. I've never heard one of these. I've never done one of these before. Quite excited. Ready?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a bit of a
You've never
letdown.
done one before.
You made more of a noise with the air that was coming out of you when you were doing the elephant burpees.
600.
And this is what, 500?
500.
Yeah. You can barely hear anything. So this is 100.
100. So this one, next one now, is literally when the train is there. It's in front of you.
Yeah. Ready? Oh my God, you put them in.
The answer is there is no safe distance. New electric trains travel almost silently and the sound can be further impacted by weather and listening to music.
Yeah.
That seems really dangerous.
I know, yeah. How high can electricity jump from overhead lines? Well, I didn't even know it could. I just thought it was in the line and you touched it and that's it.
This is such a difficult one because
Well, I'm assuming jump up and jump down. I'm assuming, right, so the wire is there and it's just all the way around it then, like a force field. I think I'm going to go with 1.5 because it just looks like a nice number.
so 2.45 is the high jump world record.
Well, I'm not even going there because I can't even reach it.
I'm going to go just below. So if there's anything below, then I win.
Right, the distance electricity can jump is higher than the world record high jump. The answer is 3 meters. There's no way you can outjump electricity from overhead lines, which are always on.
So what should you always do at a level crossing? You have 20 seconds to solve the anagram. So in your, okay, 20 seconds, starting. Wait. In, die, 3, go!
Right, okay, I think I've got it. Right, oh my gosh,
Okay,
oh my
come
gosh.
on, come on,
Right,
come on,
okay,
come on, come
okay,
on.
right, stop, look, and next, right.
There's no E in look. The answer is stop, look, listen. Yeah, well done, team.
So how much money is spent removing graffiti from railway property every year? And we've got to spray our answers on the canvases. I'm spending so long on my pound sign, it doesn't even look like a pound sign. Right.
I've gone higher, as high as possible.
I haven't got enough space for my zeros. So I'm doing some down here as well.
Banksy's job is safe with you around, isn't it? 1 million. So you got 1 million?
Oh! It costs over £3.5 million each year. That money could be much better spent on improving the railway. Also, graffiti is criminal damage, so in the real world, we could both be facing up to 10 years in prison. Each year, there are around 13,500 trespass incidents, resulting in the loss of 20 to 30 lives and inflicting around 700,000 delay minutes on rail passengers.
9 out of 10 people die after receiving an electric shock on the railways. Tragically, 69 have been electrocuted on the railway in the last 10 years.
There are over 4,000 incidents at level crossings every year. Of these, there are around 400 near misses and 3 fatalities. Well, now I can certainly say that I am train safe.
We both should be after all that.
Why not test your skills against ours?
Have a go at our online quiz by clicking the accompanying link.
And see if you can get train safe too. Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Where's the air pump coming from? Because I can.
You don't want to know. You don't want to know that.
8! I love the farting noise it makes. 9! It's me standing here. I'm about 150 metres, am I? Or am I nearly 200 metres tall? As a person?
As a person, no, you're probably one Usain Bolt step. So you're definitely not 100 metres. So...
Oh no! Oh yes, I'm thinking of a metre. Oh,
yeah. Oh, I know what I'm going to do. What do you think that is?
Is that me?
Yeah! What are the eyes? What are the eyes? That gave it away.
I think it was the nose.
The railway keeps the country moving. It carries us to work and gets us to school, brings us together and takes us away. The railway's there for us, our families and our friends. And it's massive. 20,000 miles of track, 2,500 stations, 30,000 bridges and tunnels, moving 24,000 trains and millions of passenger journeys a day. And it's not just passengers. We move huge amounts of freight across the UK by rail every day. Goods from food, phones, cars and containers, heading to all types of stores and supermarkets. Train travel is an efficient, environmentally friendly and safe way to get people and goods where they need to be. And we're always trying to make it safer. But that's not always a simple job. To start with, trains are fast and very, very heavy. They can't swerve or change course quickly. And with so much momentum, a driver won't be able to stop in time if they spot danger ahead. It takes the length of up to 20 football pitches for a train to come to a full stop. That's why we do everything we can to keep the railway safe. And that means keeping you away from the tracks. We want everyone home safe every day. Everyone who uses the railway, works on the railway, or lives by the railway deserves to be safe. But we can't do that all on our own. We need you to do your part, and you're about to find out how. Britain's rail network is a wonder of engineering, transporting millions of people every day, quickly, reliably and safely. Network Rail uses cutting-edge technology and strict safety standards to make sure that rail is one of the safest possible modes of transport. This film's about how you can stay safe in the dangerous places where roads, rail and footpaths meet. Level crossings. Years ago, when the rail network was first being built, engineers couldn't afford to build bridges and tunnels at every point where the railway crossed a road. So instead, they created level crossings, places that allowed people to cross the railway safely. We now have around 6,000 level crossings across the UK, and they come in all shapes and sizes, from footpaths across the railway to busy road crossings with hundreds of cars and pedestrians going through every hour. While no two crossings are ever the same, they do all have one thing in common. They are all potentially very dangerous places. So it's really important that you follow these key tips to keep you, your family and friends safe when using them. Firstly, and most importantly, be alert. It's really easy to get distracted, especially by phones and music. So take your headphones off, put your phone away and stop, look and listen. Never assume that the railway is clear or that someone else is looking out for you. And always expect a train. In quieter areas, you may come across crossings with gates that you open and close yourself, like this one. And if you see this sign by a gated crossing, it means that you need to check that the railway is clear yourself before crossing. These crossings don't have alarms or warning lights to alert you of an approaching train, so take care, stop, look and listen. Always look both ways before and immediately after opening the gates. Close the gates and cross. And if you're in a group, always make sure that there's enough room for you all to get across safely. If you've got a dog, always keep it on its lead. Its safety is your responsibility. Some crossings have warning lights and alarms. If they're sounding, don't cross. A train will be approaching at speed. And just because a train has passed doesn't mean it's safe to cross. Another one could be coming from either direction. Never cross until the lights stop flashing and the alarms stop. We're doing everything we can to make sure level crossings are as safe as possible. But while there are still cyclists, drivers and pedestrians taking risks, there's always the chance that accidents will happen. Don't be part of the problem. Decades ago, we replaced steam trains with cleaner, more efficient diesel ones. And we're now looking to replace diesel trains as much as possible with cleaner and quieter electric trains. Railway electricity is delivered either by overhead lines, which suit high-speed trains, or by something we call the third rail, an extra rail to the side of the track which is used on some slower routes. By using electricity, the railway's becoming more environmentally friendly. But there is a downside. Trains are, of course, very heavy. A passenger train can weigh 400 tons, the equivalent to 80 elephants. And to move something that heavy very quickly requires a lot of power. And that means a lot of electricity. Between 750 and 25,000 volts. That's 100 times more powerful than the electricity you get at home. And that much electricity makes it one of the most dangerous factors when stepping onto the railway. And it's always on, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even when there are no trains. Never underestimate how dangerous railway electricity is. You don't even need to touch anything to be electrocuted. At 25,000 volts, electricity can jump through the air like lightning and strike 3 meters from the overhead lines. It can also strike you through something you're holding, meaning balloons, kites or fishing rods should never be allowed anywhere near the overhead line. The powered third rail is a danger that hides in plain sight. It appears to be an ordinary rail, but it carries 750 volts of electricity, and if you're unfortunate enough to touch one, the current has the power to hold you to the rail and cause serious harm. please don't take risks with rail electricity. Stay off the tracks, keep away from the cables, and whatever you do, stay safe.
Hello, I'm Neil Evans and I'm a response manager with the Mid and West Wales Fire and Rescue Service. I can't tell you enough about how dangerous railway electricity can be. The worst thing can happen to anyone who ventures onto the tracks is quite simple, death. I can't say it any plainer or simpler than that. The trains are very heavy, they travel at speeds, the amount of electricity running through the third rail or the overhead power rails is enough to kill anybody. My message is simple to anyone who thinks that it's a good laugh or they want to go on there because there's a shortcut onto any rail track, is tracks are for trains, not for people. So please, that's all I can say is tracks are for trains, as simple as that.
Railway lines are fenced off from the public for very good reason. Inside the fence is a very dangerous place. There are high-powered electric cables capable of causing terrible injury, bridges and tunnels with no room to take shelter, and the constant threat of sudden collision, with massively heavy, fast-moving trains operating day and night. It might appear that deserted railway locations like these are perfect for exploring or for taking a shortcut across railway lines. But thinking these empty tracks are safe for you and your friends to cross or mess about on could be a big mistake. And here's why. Modern trains are extremely fast and so quiet they give you no time to react. And at top speed they can cover the length of a football field in less than 2 seconds. The only way to stay safe is to stay clear. Entering railway property or stepping onto the tracks without permission is trespassing. Trespassing is both illegal and very, very dangerous. By reducing delays, danger and damage to the railway, we can make sure everyone gets home safe, secure and on time. And that's why we have the British Transport Police.
Hi, I'm Beth. I'm a police officer with the British Transport Police and I've been doing this job for about 3.5 years. The British Transport Police are basically a dedicated police force that focus on providing safe travel for railway passengers and also protecting the railway. Our network of uniformed police officers, plainclothes police officers and over 150,000 CCTV cameras are monitoring you 24/7 when you use the railway network. We are here to look out for you, but if you do commit an offence when you're on the railway, it will be monitored and will be seen. We will charge, we will convict for them if it's deemed appropriate, and getting a criminal record can be detrimental to your future. It can not only stop you from getting the job you want, it could restrict your travel to other countries. Places like America and Australia will not let you into their country if you have a criminal record. And really that's not something you want as a consequence of simple trespass or disruption on the railway. Over the past few months I've dealt with far too many deaths on the railway, where a person has been killed when they've been struck by a train and they've been on the railway when they shouldn't be. The incident itself I am okay with dealing with. I can be a police officer at the time and deal with the incident on scene, but the hardest part of the job is going to a home of a relative, a mum, a dad, sister, brother, auntie, uncle, grandma, and telling them that their loved one has died and isn't coming home because they made the mistake and they've gone on the railway, and as a consequence they're not coming home. My message is don't do it, don't go on the railway. It's incredibly dangerous, and even though I've talked about the effects of the criminal prosecutions and the effect it has on yourself, think about other people, think about your family and your friends that want you to survive, want you to live a life. There's no guarantee that you will come off those tracks if you go on them.
Mae'r reilffyrdd yn cadw'r wlad yn symud. Mae'n cludo'r gwaith ac i'r ysgol, yn dod â ni at ein gilydd ac yn mynd â ni i ffwrdd. Mae'r reilffordd yno i ni, ein teuluoedd a'n ffrindiau. Ac mae'n enfawr. 20,000 o filltiroedd o draciau, 2,500 o orsafoedd, 30,000 o bontydd a thoneli, yn symud 24,000 o drenau a miliynau o deithwyr pob dydd. Ac nid teithiwr yn unig. Rydyn ni'n symud llawer iawn o nwyddau ar draws y Deyrnas Unedig ar y reilffordd pob 24 awr. Nwyddau fel bwyd, ffonau, ceir a chynwysion. Yn mynd i siopau ac archfarchnadoedd o bob math. Mae teithio ar y trên yn ffordd effeithlon, eco-gyfeillgar a diogel o fynd â phobl a nwyddau i le mae angen iddynt fod. Ac rydyn ni'n gwneud yn fwy diogel trwy'r amser, ond dyw hynny ddim yn syml pob tro. I ddechrau, mae trenau'n gyflym ac yn drwm iawn. Allen nhw ddim symud na newid cyfeiriad yn gyflym. A, gyda chymaint o fomentum, all gyrrwr ddim stopio mewn pryd os yn ydyn nhw'n gweld perygl o'i flaen. Mae'n cymryd hyd 20 cae pêl-droed i dren stopio'n llwyr. Felly, rydyn ni'n gwneud popeth a allwn i gadw'r reilffordd yn ddiogel. Ac mae hynny'n golygu eich cadw chi i ffwrdd o'r traciau. Rydyn ni eisiau pawb fynd adre yn ddiogel pob dydd. Pawb sy'n defnyddio reilffyrdd, yn gweithio ar y reilffyrdd, neu'n byw yn ymyl y reilffyrdd yn haeddu bod yn ddiogel.
Helo, fy enw i yw Jodie Donnelly. Dwi'n gyrrwr tren yn Caerdydd i Trefnidiaeth Cymru. Does neb yn mynd i'r gwaith i bwrw unrhyw un, i bwrw anifeil, i bwrw person. Ni'n mynd i'r gwaith i mynd â'r pobl o un lle i'r lle arall. I bod yn onest, mae yn rhywbeth, mae bron gyd o ni yn ofnus o. Y diwrnod yna, bydd rhywun ar y tracs a bydd hwnna fel, bydd ni'n bwrw nhw, bydd ni'n lladd nhw. Mae wir yn ofnus i ni. Mae pob gyrrwr yn meddwl amdano fe trwy'r dydd weithiau, neu'r cyn dod i'r gwaith, bod hwnna'r bydd y dydd, bydden nhw'n bwrw rhywun. Felly, os ni'n gweld rhywun ar y trac, ni'n sowndio'r hôn i trio cael nhw i symud, ond y peth yw, ble bynnag mae'r trac yn mynd, dyna'r ble mae'r tren yn mynd, ac hyd yn oed os ni'n rhoi'r brakes mewn yn llawn, mae'n gallu cymryd bron 2 kilometr i'r tren dod i stop llawn. Felly, os mae rhywun yn cael ei taro gan y tren, dwi ddim jyst yn effeithio nhw. Mae rhaid i chi meddwl am eu teulu nhw, eu ffrindiau nhw, ond hefyd y gyrrwr, bydd y gyrrwr yn mynd gatref gyda hwnna yn mynd trwy ei feddwl.
Mae rwydwaith reilffyrdd Prydain yn ryfeddod peiriannol, sy'n cludo miliynau o bobl pob dydd, yn gyflym, yn ddibynadwy ac yn ddiogel. Mae Network Rail yn defnyddio technoleg diweddaraf a safonau diogelwch llym i wneud yn siŵr mae reilffyrdd yw un o'r ffyrdd mwyaf diogel o deithio. Pwnc y ffilm hon yw sut y gallwch chi fod yn ddiogel, yn y mannau peryglus lle mae ffyrdd, reilffyrdd a llwybrau'n cwrdd. Croesfannau gwastad. Blynyddoedd yn ôl, pan adeiladwyd y rwydwaith reilffyrdd yn gyntaf, doedd peiriannwyr ddim yn gallu fforddio adeiladu pontydd a thwneli ym mhob man roedd y reilffordd yn croesi ffordd. Yn lle hynny, creuwyd groesfannau gwastad. Mannau oedd yn caniatáu i bobl groesi reilffordd yn ddiogel. Mae gennym rhyw 6,000 o groesfannau gwastad yn y Deyrnas Unedig o bob math, o lwybrau troed ar draws y reilffordd, i groesfannau ffordd prysur lle mae cannoedd o geir a cherfydd yn croesi pob awr. Bod pob croesfan yn gwahanol, mae ganddyn nhw i gyd un peth yn gyffredin. Gall pob un fod yn fan peryglus iawn. Felly, mae'n bwysig iawn i chi ddilyn yr awgrymiadau hyn i'ch cadw chi, eich teulu a'ch ffrindiau yn ddiogel wrth ei defnyddio. Yn gyntaf ac yn bwysicaf, byddwch yn effro. Mae'n hawdd i rhywbeth yn eich sylw yn enwedig ffôn neu cerddoriaeth. Felly tynnwch eich ffonau clust allan, rhowch eich ffôn i ffwrdd a stopiwch, edrychwch a gwrandewch. Peidiwch byth â thybio bod y llinell yn glir neu fod rhywun arall yn cadw llygad ar eich rhan. Byddwch yn barod am drin pob amser. Mewn mannau tawelach, efallai y dewch o hyd i groesfannau a gatchau rydych chi ei hagor eich hun fel hon. Ac os gwelwch yr arwydd hwn ger groesfan a gat, mae'n golygu bod angen i chi wneud yn siŵr bod y llinell yn glir cyn croesi. Wrth y croesfannau hyn, does dim larwm na goleuadau rybuddio i ddweud bod tren yn dod. Felly cymerwch ofal, stopiwch, edrychwch a gwrandewch. Edrychwch ddwy ffordd cyn ac syth ar ôl agor y gatiau. Ceiwch y gatiau a chroeswch. Os ydych chi mewn grŵp, sicrhewch fod digon o le i bawb groesi'n ddiogel. Os oes gennych chi, rhaid ei gadw ar denyn pob amser. Chi sy'n gyfrifol am ei gadw'n ddiogel. Mae gan rai croesfannau oleuadau rybuddio a larwm. Os ydyn nhw'n seinio, peidiwch â chroesi. Mae tren yn dod yn gyflym. Ac os yw tren wedi mynd heibio, dyw hi ddim yn golygu ei bod hi'n ddiogel i groesi. Gallai tren arall fod yn dod o'r naill gyfeiriad yn y llall. Peidiwch byth â chroesi nes bod y goleuadau'n stopio fflachio a'r larwm yn stopio. Rydyn ni'n gwneud popeth a allwn ni sicrhau bod croesfannau gwastar mor ddiogel a phosibl, ond os yw seiclwyr, gyrwyr a cherwyr yn parhau i gymryd risgiau, mae yna siawns y bydd damweiniau'n digwydd o hyd. Peidiwch a bod yn rhan o'r broblem. Gweithio'r mileniau filltiroedd a deithiwyd, a'r teithwyr a nwyddau gludwyd, dim ond 1.5% o holl allyriadau trafnidiaeth y Deyrnas Unedig a ddaw o reilffyrdd. Ac rydym ni'n ceisio gwella o hyd. Degawdau yn ôl, newidion ni trenau stem am rai diesel galanach a mwy effeithlon. Nawr rydym ni'n ceisio newid trenau diesel cymaint â sy'n bosibl, am rai trydan galanach a thawelach. Caf trydan yr reilffyrdd ei gyflwynu naill ai trwy wifrau eich ben sy'n addas i drenau cyflym iawn, neu trwy trydydd gledren ychwanegol wrth ochr y trac a defnyddir ar rai llwybrau cymudwyr. Trwy defnyddio trydan, mae reilffordd yn dod yn fwy eco-gyfeillgar, ond mae yna ochr negyddol. Mae trenau'n drwm iawn wrth gwrs. Gall tren teithwyr bwyso 400 tunnell, yr un peth ag 80 o eliffantod. Mwyn symud rhywbeth mor drwm a hynny'n gyflym iawn, mae angen llawer o bŵer, sy'n golygu llawer o drydan. Rhwng 750 i 25,000 o foltiau. Mae hynny 100 gwaith yn fwy pwerus na'r trydan yn eich cartref. Gall cymaint a hynny o drydan fod yn beryglus iawn. Trydan yw'r un o'r ffactorau mwyaf peryglus wrth gamu ar y reilffordd. Ac mae'n llifo bob amser, dydd a nos, 7 diwrnod yr wythnos, hyd yn oed pan na fydd trenau'n redeg. Paid byth â thancawn-gyfrif pa mor beryglus yw trydan ar y reilffordd. Does dim rhaid i chi gyffwrdd ag unrhyw beth i gael ei trydanu. Gall 25,000 o foltiau o drydan arcio trwy'r awyr fel mellten. A thora rhywbeth 3 metr i ffwrdd o'r gwifrau uwch ben. Gall eich taro hefyd drwy rhywbeth yn eich llaw. Felly, ni ddylai balwn, barcud neu gwialen bisgota byth fod yn agos i'r gwifrau uwch ben. Mae drydedd gledren a phŵer yn berygl cudd sy'n ei gweld yn glir. Mae'n edrych fel cledran arferol, ond yn cario 750 o foltiau o drydan. Os ydych chi'n ddigon anffodus i gyffwrdd ag un, gall y cerynt eich dalu'r gledran ac achosi anafiadau ofnadwy. Peidiwch â chymryd risgau gyda thrydan y reilffyrdd. Aroswch i ffwrdd o'r traciau, cadwch i ffwrdd o'r ceblau, a beth bynnag rydych chi'n neud, aroswch yn ddiogel.
Helo, enw fi yw Neil Evans, fi'n swyddog tân efo gwasanaeth tân ac achub Canolbarth a Gorllewin Cymru. Yr effaith a difrod o'r bobl sydd yn mynd ar y rheilffyrdd a sy'n cyffwrdd y trydan yn eithriafol o ddrwg. Mae'n gallu rhoi anafiadur nhw fydd ydyn nhw am gweddill i oes, a mae hefyd yn gallu lladd nhw. Amser chi'n cyffwrdd y trydan, mae trydan yn trial ffeindio ffordd allan i beth yn galw i'r ddaear, a mae hwnni'n gallu fod fel rheol eich llawn, eich trod, ta beth sy'n cyffwrdd â ddaear, a mae hynny'n gallu meddwl bod chi'n colli eich llaw, colli eich trod, a beth ni'n clywed wedyn yw beth ni'n galw, mae fe'n craclan, chi'n clywed y crôn yn coginio craclan, chi'n clywed y sŵn na, a hefyd ni'n arogli y corff yn llosgi a cael ei coginio. As na beth sy'n digwydd, mae gymaint o pŵer yn mynd trwyddo, mae gymaint o gres yn y corff, a ni'n clywed wedyn, mae pŵer sy'n dal yn fyw, maen nhw'n gwychel y sgrechen, a ni'n goffod clywed hwnna fed, a mae fe'n eithriadol o boenus ar y person. Neges i unrhyw un sy'n meddwl bod yn bach o sport i mynd ar y trac, neu mynd ar y trac achos bod e'n ffordd haws i cyrraedd le maen nhw moyn mynd a cerdded, yw mae'r tracs i trenau dim i bobl. Mae llwybrau a heolydd a bontydd i gael i bobl. Felly cadwch bant, pidwch boddran, achos os chi'n parchu eich bywyd, chi'n parchu bywyd eich teulu a beth maen nhw'n meddwl, cadwch bant wrtho fe, achos yr effaith o unrhyw un sy'n cael ei nafu neu cael ei ladd trwy mynd ar y rheilffyrdd, mae'n effaith ar y teulu, a mae'n effaith arno ni, a mae'n effaith ar teulu ni, o achos be ni'n gweld.
Mae reswm da dros godi ffensys i gadw'r cyhoedd draw o reilffyrdd. Y tu hwnt i'r ffens mae yna amgylchedd llawn perygl. Ceblau trydan pŵer uchel sy'n gallu achosi anafiadau trechu nebys. Pontydd a thwneli heb le i gerfydd ddianc. A bygythiad parhau sgwrsdrawiad sydyn? Gyda threnau cyflym tros ben sy'n redeg dydd a nos. Gall eiliadau ar y reilffyrdd fer y rhain edrych yn wych ar gyfer crwydro neu fynd y ffordd fer ar draws y reilffordd. Ond gallai meddwl bod y traciau gwag lle ddiogel i chi a'ch ffrindiau croesi neu chwarae fod yn gamgymeriad anheuol. A dyma pam. Mae trenau modern yn gyflym iawn ac mor dawel does dim amser i ymateb. Ar y cyflymaf, gallaf symud hyd cae pêl-droed mewn llai na 2 eiliad. Yr unig ffordd i gadw'n ddiogel yw cadw draw. Mynd ar eiddo reilffyrdd neu fynd ar y traciau heb ganiatad yw tresmasu. Mae tresmasu'n anghyfreithlon, yn ffôl, ac yn beryglus iawn iawn. Trwy leihau achosion o oedi, perygl a difrod i'r reilffordd, gall yn sicrhau y bydd pawb yn mynd adref yn ddiogel ac ar amser. A dyna pam mae gennym ni'r heddlu trafnidiaeth Prydeinig.
Helo, fe enw i yw Simon. Dwi'n gweithio fel ringill i heddlu trafnidiaeth Prydeinig a dwi'n gweithio yn Caerdydd. Mae heddlu trafnidiaeth Prydeinig yn plismona 6 miliwn o deithiau pob dydd. Mae ganddon ni swyddogion yn gwisg plaen a hefyd 150,000 o camerâu sy'n monitro pawb 24 awr y diwrnod, pob diwrnod y mlwyddyn. Os ych chi yn neud rhywbeth drwg ar y reilffyrdd, byddwn ni yn edrych mewn i'r trais, a hefyd byddwn ni yn cyhuddo pawb sy'n yn neud rhywbeth drwg ar y reilffordd. Os byddwch chi yn cael cyhuddiad, all cyhuddiad ymharu ar y ffaith bod chi moyn trafeilu tramor, yn enwedig i gwledydd fel America a Awstralia. Y rhan fwyaf anodd o'r swydd yw gorfod mynd i digwyddiadau lle mae pobl wedi cael eu taro gan tren ac yn anffodus mae rai yn marw. Mae'n anodd, mae'n rhan o'r swydd, mae'n rhywbeth dwi'n gallu delio gyda ar y pryd, ond ar ôl hynny mae rhaid dweud wrth y teulu a mae hwnna'n anodd, gorfod dweud wrth mam, dad, brawd neu chwaer bod rhywun maen nhw'n caru wedi marw ar y reilffordd yn anodd iawn i'w wneud. Fy neges i yw peidiwch byth am mynd ar y cledrau. Mae'n lle llawer rhy peryglus. Byddwn ni'n adnod chi cadw draw cadwch yn saff ac yn ddiogel, mae bywyd yn rhy gwerthfawr, a peidiwch byth a thresmasu.
Good morning. Welcome to the DriveTech and British Transport Police Level Crossing Awareness course. My name's Ian Binns. I'm the National Quality Manager for DriveTech. And this course has been put together with people from the railways industry and British Transport Police to help you. You may think, what's this got to do with me? I'm 14, 15 years old. I'm not driving yet. But you will be within the next 12 to 24 months, or maybe a little bit longer. You'll certainly be a passenger in a car which has been driven during that time. And level crossings are one of the most dangerous things that we have. Cars and trains don't mix very well, and people don't always appreciate what the issues are there. And all we want to do is just give you a few hints and tips and a little bit of information that when you're in a car, either as a passenger, with family and friends, or with when you start driving yourself, that when you approach a level crossing and the lights start flashing, you know exactly what they mean and how that all works together. So if we can help a little bit, that'd be great. Thanks very much for watching, and I'd now like to hand you on to Rahat. Rahat Khan is one of our trainers for this. She delivers these professionally on a day-to-day basis, and she'll go through some key elements of the course with you to hopefully give you 1 or 2 points you can take with you. So thanks very much for listening, and hope you enjoy the presentation.
Thank you for that, Ian. So, morning, my name is Rahat. I'll be going through the level crossing presentation with you in brief, just to show you what we are dealing with on a day-to-day basis. I also teach 16, 17-year-olds to drive, and one of the questions I always get asked is, how do you do the level crossing? Because when they end up on the courses, they're shocked that this is not being taught. So this is a sample of the presentation that we do. And I'm going to give you the key elements of it so that you're aware of things and better informed when you come out onto the road. I think it's a good age to learn at. So when we do this course, we go through the technicalities of how to use the toolbars, etc., and the terms and conditions of the course, because you have to be invited by the police. We do a bit of an icebreaker for the delegates, get them to answer some questions that we will reveal a little bit later on in the course. We go through the health safety aspect of it right at the beginning, and then a brief description of who we are and who is involved. We throw out some questions as well. It's an interactive course. It's not just me talking to the delegates. It's a two-way conversation, and we're open to any questions, because it is one of those courses where people don't really have a proper insight to it. So we go through what the police look after, basically, and the last one, which is a very interesting one, gets everyone off of guard. The Emirates Airlines. A lot of people think it's the airline itself. It's not. It's actually the cable cars in Greenwich, which are run by Emirates Airlines, and BTP look after them, obviously the passengers and the people who work there. We go on to tell them about the day, what we're going to be covering, and a brief insight of what's expected from the delegates as well. Okay, so this is the introduction of the course. We go on to then ask questions. Why do people ignore the signals at level crossings? And it comes down to three main reasons why people do ignore the level crossing. It's not understanding the law, not being aware of the consequences, and feeling intimidated So sometimes people behind you don't want to wait at the level crossing and they're beeping you to go. So that forces or pushes or makes the driver in front take the level crossing, not understanding the consequences if it was to go wrong. We go into explaining the modules that we're going to be covering, 4 modules that we cover in this course. Then starting off with the first module, we ask the delegates what the main problems are. The main problem is that people don't know how many different types of crossings there are. The education received behind it, if you think about it, not everyone lives near a level crossing. So by the time you get to one, it could be 20, 30 minutes, and no one's going to want to pay 25 to 30 pounds an hour to be sitting at a level crossing to be shown how it's all used. So a lot of it is via the highway code. Predictability of level crossing. Do you know when you're stationary, it seems that you're sitting there forever and people don't want to sit there, and that's why they will take that risk, not knowing what the dangers are. I give them a quiz. What is the sequence of traffic lights? This is the fun bit of the course, and everyone gets it wrong, believe it or not. So I put up the quiz. This is one for you to learn before you do your theory. And I also get delegates to ask me what they mean. And I get all types of interpretations of traffic lights. I want to know what they mean according to the highway code. We get a good giggle out of this. This means go, if it's safe to do so. This means stop. This means stop. This means stop. So there's a bit of a heads up for you. So when people are getting this one wrong, I then ask them, so how do you think you're going to do on the level crossing sequence? And a lot of their faces drop because they're not sure. So I put up the sequence and no one gets it right when I ask them. So when I put up the sequence, the first thing I get them to do is read this out. One of the reasons we get them to read this out is a lot of people think you stop at a level crossing when the red light goes on. It's not. When any of the lights go on, you must stop. I'll put up the sequence to it. You'll always get a warning sign. You'll see the barrier in the distance. You'll see the lights. The amber light goes on first. A lot of drivers get this wrong. They think it's a flashing amber light. It's not. It's a still, and you must stop when the amber light goes on. Then both the red lights go on and they flash. Barriers come down and then the train comes through. This whole sequence takes 27 seconds from when the lights start. We go into the law relating to when you offered the course and when you'll have to go to court. We also then show them a sequence on approach, which I will show you now. So on approach, you can see there's a bend, so visibility is poor. You can see the warning sign there. Have a look at the speed at which they're traveling at. It's a 30-mile-per-hour road. There's the lights go. Then the barriers come down. Sometimes it has a sound accompanying the barriers, and on other times it doesn't. And then the train will come through. We have a bit of discussion here. The driver never goes over 23 miles per hour, because what he's doing is he's anticipating this crossing. And by anticipating it, he's actually slowing down the drivers behind him, because the last thing he wants is for him to have to slam the brakes on last minute and someone to go into the back of him. So that's module 1 that we cover. We then go on to module 2, which is the consequences. Now, this is a module which hits most delegates quite hard, because for many people, they don't think about the consequences of the risk that they're taking. I'm going to show you this footage. This is what a typical police van will be looking to see day in, day out. So here we ask the delegates on their thoughts, and a lot of them feel very annoyed with what's happened. In total, there are 6 cars that go over when the lights start flashing, and the last 2 that went over, they will not be offered a course. They will be in front of the judge in court explaining why they need to keep their license. This is how serious an offence this can be. Frankly putting it, if you take a risk against the train is going to win every single time. Please remember, not all level crossings are near stations, so technically the train doesn't have to slow down when it's doing the level crossing. So these are some of the points we put forward and discussed. We also discussed that the car that takes that right turn, no consideration for anyone emerging from any of these junctions. We then go on to talk about the consequences if you ignore the lights. And this is some of the stuff people don't even take into consideration. You can get points on your license for ignoring the lights. For a new driver, if you get 6 points, you will end up losing your license and having to do the test again. A new driver is anyone who's held their license under 2 years. Fines are based according to your income and how big the offence is. Insurance will go up, social inconvenience. Social media is so powerful. People don't realize that it can be a really very humiliating process when it's up on social network. And it's very, very embarrassing if you are highlighted. It can affect your work if you have points and a fine on your license. Some companies require a clean license. Loss of license can lead to financial issues, also loss of freedom, loss of independence, and the ultimate is a collision. Now, again, like I like to put forward on this course, if you take a risk against a train, the train is going to win every single time. And if you do survive, you're going to be looking at life-changing injuries after a collision like that. We play another video. I'm not going to show you this one. It's just one in a rural road, but it's a half barrier one. So we're looking at different types of level crossings that you can come across. We go into the consequences of if it was to go wrong for you on a level crossing. Some of the questions we ask delegates is, how will your family feel if they realize that you were killed in this crash because you didn't want to wait at a level crossing for 5 or 10 minutes? It would be totally devastating, and it's the kind of loss that one never gets over. We talk about the train driver and the rail personnel at the station. It's a scar for life. It's something that they will never get over because they can do nothing to stop that train in time because of the weight and the load of the train. Passengers on the train can be injured. Don't forget, people also carry luggage, bikes, etc. So when a train hits the brake, everything is flung forward and the injuries can be very, very severe and also scarring for life. That puts more people on the roads because they don't want to use the train after an experience like that. It affects the local community, people living there, working there. It's a reminder, a constant reminder to them as to what they see. And then we talk about you, the driver, causing all this mayhem. How would it make you feel? Because in our heads, we think we're a good driver. This isn't going to happen to me. But it takes a split second for it to go wrong. And that's where your life can change forever. Earlier on, I was talking about, I put up some questions which we use as an icebreaker. We put up the answers. A lot of people are shocked by the numbers being so low. But as far as I'm concerned, even one is too many. You know, that is 2 families that have been affected by this death just because they couldn't be bothered to wait at the level crossing. It's a horrible way to lose your life, and it's the repercussions of this to the families are horrendous. Talking about it is not as effective. If you know of someone who has lost someone like this, it's a horrible place to be. We talk about the cost of if it is to go wrong. We talk about the time it takes for investigations, the mayhem it causes in an area. In this particular situation, the lorry driver did not call up ahead that he needs to cross because he's done this crossing on a number of occasions. So he decides to risk it this time, hence causes this collision. Weeks and months of mayhem on this rail track, because don't forget, nothing is running on these rails while this investigation and clear-up operation is being done. Now, in this incident, this lorry driver was sentenced to 9 months 9 months prison sentence, suspended for 18 months, ordered to undertake 300 hours of unpaid work, and he also receives a criminal record for this because he's being sentenced in Crown Court. After this scenario, we take a break. After break, we move on to managing our driving. Now, one of the biggest things that affects our driving is the way we feel, our emotions, everyday stresses of life, what's happening. So we talk about what personal pressures can prevent you from complying. We discuss things that we are thinking about, things happening in our life, work pressure, even arguments with partners, parents, etc. This can all affect the way you drive because the way you feel reflects in your driving. We discuss some solutions because no point in discussing problems if we're not going to give you some solutions. And, we get some very, very good suggestions. This again, I'm going to show you another video. This again is from a van. This is what people are on this course for. This is exactly why you get a letter through the post. Let me play this now. Now, clearly here you can see this van has stopped. This cyclist decides he can go through, which then encourages this van driver to go. So you see this pedestrian, he goes through as well. These lights apply to everyone using the crossing, not just car drivers, cyclists, and the pedestrians too. Now, both the pedestrian and the cyclist were prosecuted for this, and so was the van driver. Now, the van driver would not get a course for this because he had gone over. The red lights were flashing for more than 5 seconds, so he would not get offered a course for this. I'm not going to play this. Then we talk about some distractions when we're driving. Again, there's a whole load of reasons why people are distracted whilst driving. It could be people they know outside the car. It could be people inside the car or gadgets, radio, mobile, etc. that can distract you. Again, we come up with some solutions because no point in talking about problems if we're not going to give some solutions. And the good thing about having a discussion is you may not have thought of some of the things that other people think of. And when you have a discussion, you think, that's a good idea. I think I could use that as well. So it's a good way of troubleshooting, if you like, to come up with some solutions. Now, this is a simple coping strategy that we use in driving. It's a snapshot of advanced driving. Emergency services use this as well. It is an absolutely brilliant tool. Concentration is one of the biggest things we need once we're driving. And frankly speaking, we don't concentrate for more than about 20 minutes. It's a stretch of 20 minutes. The rest of the time we're thinking about other stuff. University of Loughborough has done some research into this. Now, you're not driving yet, but when you have you ever been in a situation where you go upstairs to look for something, by the time you've got there, you've forgotten what you're looking for? Well, that's one of the things that proves that, you know, our concentration levels are not very good. With observation, once we start driving, many people get into the habit of just looking beyond the bonnet. You should be looking as far as you can see so that you can anticipate things, basically second guessing what others are going to do. If you can bring these three tools proactively into your driving, you're going to be on top of your game. Once you've worked on the first three, space is something that can guarantee you no collision, because you cannot crash into space. The definition of a collision is when you run out of space or two people occupy the same space. So give yourself plenty of space in front of you when you're driving. And if someone takes the gap, doesn't matter, let them take it, ease off the gas and create that space again. And the biggest one in this is time. Give yourself plenty of time for a journey. A lot of people play beat the sat nav. They put their destination into sat nav. It tells them 30 minutes. They think, oh, I can do that in 20 minutes. Don't do that. Add on an extra 10-15 minutes on your journey. And if you're doing a longer journey, at least add on half an hour, 45 minutes, because roads are unpredictable. You don't know what's going to be happening on the road on that day. One collision can put you back for hours. So very, very useful tool. The acronym is COAST. If you can bring this into your driving, I tell you what, you're going to be a damn good driver. The last module we talk about is making a change. So we get delegates to write an action plan, because to make a change, we must acknowledge that there is a need to change, commit to change, create a plan, review the plan, and think of the consequences. This is a very, very powerful one. After we've done the second module, most people get the gist of it and understand what we're talking about here, and it helps them with the action plan. To help the delegates with an action plan, we put up some questions for them to answer. So think of a situation where you may be at risk of not complying with a level crossing. An example could be when you're waiting at the level crossing, the person behind you doesn't want to wait and is hooting at you to move on. So what is it that puts you at risk of not complying? This is more to do with emotion. So when that person is hooting at you, how does it make you feel? It's intimidating. And for most people, they do take the risk without realizing how much risk they're putting themselves in. So to reduce the risk, what will you do? An example would be, I know the consequences and I know what is involved. I'm not taking that risk. If that person wants to take that level crossing, go around me, take it. I ain't doing it. But it takes a lot of guts to be thinking like that, I have to admit. To ensure that this works, what else can you do? So, you know, you could slow down gradually approaching the level crossing so the barriers are down by the time you get there, if you know that there is a level crossing. I wouldn't get into a confrontation with any other drivers, because you're sharing the roads with the good, the bad, and the ugly. You don't know who you're sharing the roads with. They could get out the car. It could get very, very ugly. Whose help do you need? Maybe you need to read up on how it all works. Educate yourself. Education is very, very powerful. And when you have that knowledge behind you, I tell you what, you won't be bullied by anyone. You can stand your ground and deal with the situation better if you're properly educated on something. And how will you review your plan? I would give myself about a month for the plan to kick in, because no change takes place overnight. You need to give yourself a minimum of 28 days for any change to take place. After about a month, I'll check to see if it's working. If it's not, I'll tweak it or I'll review it. One of the reasons we get delegates to write out an action plan is when you write things down, you will remember them for longer. and also you're more likely to do it, and you've got something to refer to as well. So again, action plans, very, very good. When you go out to work, you'll find that most places of work do require you to do an action plan. We do a little bit of summary and feedback to find out what they found useful in the course, any questions they have. And that is the BTP course that we do, the level crossing course. Thank you. Jen, I'll finish.